I'm Bob Wisnam Savage, and I collect items relating to the Lord of the Rings motion picture trilogy, which was made between 2001 and 2003. I started to collect because I fell in love with the movies. I'd read the book a couple of times, but the movie really brought it all to life and together for me. I love movies, and especially fantasy movies, so this was excellent, and it had lots of arms and armour in it, because my daytime job is curator of European edged weapons at the Royal Armouries. I think the thing I really liked about Lord of the Rings, certainly the motion picture trilogy, was the fact it took us to a different place and a different time that most of us, in fact all of us, have never been to. And it took us to that place so convincingly, with the not just the arms and armour, but the costumes, the landscapes, and almost everything else, the architecture. The pieces I collected vary. They range from the action figures, which my wife disparagingly calls dollies, to books about the making of the movies. The action figures I liked because of the incredible amount of detailing that went into them. They seemed a bit different from the normal types and range of action figures. And the books I have about the making of, a lot of them have been signed by a lot of the crew. I've got a lot of items that are autographed by certain people, but not so much the stars. It's actually the backroom boys and girls. It's the special effects people at Weta in New Zealand who made the impossible possible. One of the most difficult pieces to go collect, and if you like, I think it was the last piece I actually collected, was a sort of special edition Uruk-hai, only available through Burger King. And I must admit I had to go onto eBay for that one and paid a slightly silly price for it. I'm not going to reveal how much. It wasn't that silly, but it was silly. But that was the one that took the longest to finally get hold of. But that completed my series. The funny thing was the only real difference between this figure and the other Uruk-hai was that it had a different helmet. So I suppose that's terrible. It sort of said how obsessive I was. I got this figure because it had a different piece of plastic on it. At least I can recognise this fact. My favourite piece has to be evil incarnate, has to be Sauron in his armour, which we see in the prologue section of the Fellowship of the Ring. I like it because it's big. And the armour is actually based on 15th century Gothic armour. John Howe, one of the conceptual artists for the movies, actually liked this figure. He thought it was the best one of the lot, and I think it was because of the spiky detailing and what have you. And the helmet is based on the skull of a dead horse, and of course it has its added there is no life in the void. Yes, well, that's an interesting statement, yes. Weta were trying to create, and Peter Jackson and Richard, we're all trying to create, again, a place we haven't been to before, a past, an ancient past of the Earth. And so they created arms and armour that would be practical, but was not totally fantastic. It had a reality to it. And hence, some of the armour is based on Gothic armour, German armour of the 15th century. Other armour is based on pieces such as those found at Sutton Hoo from the 7th century. So you have this amazing amalgam of pieces with a basis in reality, but then taken a step further. The result being they become totally original pieces of design, but still look functional. My favourite piece that isn't a figure is what I'm wearing, this little cap, which perhaps doesn't look much, but it's got Weta on the back, as you can see, and it's got the red eye of Sauron on the front. This was a logo designed by John Howe. This was given to me by Richard Taylor of Weta when we visited there in 2006, and it is a cap, a production crew cap, so that's a real sort of a souvenir. In one sense, the action figures are just that. They're a remembrance, they're a souvenir of elements of the movie there, than nothing else. But this is a real souvenir for me of the movie and of the people who actually made it. One of my other favourite pieces is this framed, signed print of the poster for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's signed by Richard Taylor and Tanya Roger, who are the head of Weta, and also Peter Lyon, who is the swordsmith. He was the artist who made all of the swords for the 3 movies, and he's made other swords for other movies like The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Last Samurai. But if you like, for me, these are 3 top-notch artists, and it's about the people as well behind the scenes. We see the actors on the screen, but to get them on the screen, it's the people behind there as well, and that's what intrigues me. I've got a number of books signed by various people who were in the movie. So Andy Serkis, Gollum. He wrote a book about the making of Gollum, so Andy signed it. Sam, otherwise known as Sean Astin, his biography and how he was making the movie, that's signed as well. So that's a little treasure. But the one, again, I treasure most is this little Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring photo guide, which is actually a kiddie's book. But I took it with me when I went to New Zealand, and it was rather nice because, again, down at Weta, the heads there went and signed it for me, but they put a little inscription in it. And to Bob, may all your elven ships take you safely home to harbour from your friends in Middle-earth. Say cheers, Richard Taylor, 2006 Weta. And his partner at Weta, Tanya, writes, for Bob, here's hoping your journey through Middle-earth is full of wonderful discoveries and experiences, and that New Zealand is interesting too. Tanya, Weta 2006. It's also signed by Frodo Elijah Wood as well, but that's a minor detail. There we go. And again, I've got a chief wizard in this one. Ian McKellen has signed that. So I've almost got most of the major pieces. I've still got a couple more to track down, but I'm sure I'll get those in due course. I'm not so obsessive that I've collected every single variant of every single figure. Some have real woolen cloaks, others have plastic cloaks. I'll go with a plastic one. I'm not going to chase every single last one down. Although I have got examples of all the ones as far as I know. And of course, no serious collector would be without the One Ring. Except I think there might be more than one of these rings somehow. I've got a strange suspicion about it. And it doesn't make me go invisible either. I've tried it.